Hey all, Frosty here, and I'm going to be going through the patch 13.5 notes. So let's get straight into it. So we're beginning with YUUMI. She's received a small rework. So her passive, they've now changed it so that when YUUMI spells or attacks affect champions, she heals herself and charges a heal for allies. If she then attaches within the next 4 seconds, she brings that heal to them. And there's also now a stacking effect called Making Friends. So while attached, YUUMI builds friendship whenever her ally kills enemy champions and minions. Each ally has their own unique friendship score, and one of them will be the best friend, which is the one that has the highest friendship score. So the Q, it's pretty much the same, but now it's how it works is if you're attached a new Q, it charges up for a bit and then zooms. And it also now reveals people. If you hit it with the Q, the W, they've removed the adaptive force bonus, and Uni's W no longer counts as a boon for Airy. And the E, they've now made it only shields instead of healing. And there's a lot of cooldown stuff like that. And then the ult, the biggest thing is, so it's pretty much the same as before, and there's a heal per wave. If you're the best friend, waves will also grant you armor and magic resistance for the duration of the spell. So YUUMI was, in my opinion, the most hated champion, probably behind Yasuo and other champions like that. And I don't really like this. So I think it's strong. I think it's good for YUUMI players. But I feel like she was in a bad spot before, and now they've reworked her, and she's probably going to be in a worse spot before. I think the Q is really annoying. I think it's more oppressive for if you're versing it. It's still going to be annoying if you're playing with a YUUMI, because YUUMI will just leave you and then she'll go jump onto the jungler, right? But now, because of this best friend bonus, there's more incentive to jump onto your jungler earlier, so that you give them more friendship stacks from the get-go, so that they're always the best friend or the ADC. So I think that YUUMI's ban rate is going to go up. I don't know. I haven't, from what I've heard from my league friends, no one's really looking forward to this because it's just going to be really annoying. So yeah, I think ban rate is going to go up. I don't know about win rate or play rate. I imagine win rate is going to go up as well with the stacking stuff. So Aatrox, they've decreased the cooldown of W, and slow now increases with rank, and the R bonus AD granted has increased. So more slow means that there's a higher chance they will reposition so that you can hit your Q, so that's really good. And a lower cooldown also means that you can trade more. Bonus AD also means that in fights when you're 6 or above, you have a higher chance of winning. So these are good changes, and they don't... they're not buffing the healing, which is the really oppressive part of Aatrox. So I really like these buffs. I think play rate, win rate are going to go up. Don't know about ban rate. So Ashe, they're trying to steer Ashe back into ADC. So the Q mana cost decreased, empower duration increased, W base damage decreased, R cooldown increased early and decreased late. So I think Ashe is a really, really fun ADC. I think if you're an ADC player and you want to learn how to kite, I think Ashe is great. It also feels super satisfying when you watch clips of Ashe kiting really well and ADCs like that. So her being pushed back into ADC, I'm fine with. Her passive is a bit oppressive, that she always has CC like a slow, but apart from that, yeah, I really like this. I think her play rate and her win rate might go up. The mana cost decrease on the Q, I don't think that's going to be too much, because as ADC, you're not really going to be spamming your W unless you're looking to trade or, fight. But, less mana cost means that you can do it more often. Empowered duration, 6 seconds of that's going to be the big one. That means you're going to be doing a lot more damage. Empowered duration, and also means that you also have windows to miss an auto attack or reposition, stuff like that. So I think the Q changes are really good. Aurelion Sol has been a monster. So they're decreasing the health growth and armor growth, and the Q burst proc AP ratio decreased. So what this means is, A, you're going to be doing less damage with Aurelion Sol. Excuse me. And B, health growth and armor growth decrease means that you can also be squishier as the game goes on. So early game, Aurelion Sol is going to be very, very hard. It's going to be harder now because you're going to be squishier. But if you can make it to late game, you're going to do really well. So I think win rate and play rate are going to decrease. Ban rate also might decrease, because if it's squishy and you play squishier counters, not squishy sounded like early game counters into Aurelion Sol, you do a lot better. Azir, so they've also done a little rework. So base stats, passive, QWE, they're all adjusted. I think the biggest thing to note is they're trying to push it more into a Q. You're going into a more Q build. And they've also removed if you have 3 soldiers at a time, you don't get the crazy bonus speed. So I think they're trying to make it so that you don't need to go Nash's Tooth kind of thing. Azir is horrible in solo queue, I feel, and amazing in pro play. If you meet a really good Azir in solo queue, they are very good, and they are definitely worth adding afterwards. So I've got no clue how this is going to be. I'm going to just leave it. I'm sure LS or someone else will have a huge in-depth into why this is good or bad. So Caitlyn has been really oppressive in solo queue. It's been my #1 go-to ban because Caitlyn is just so annoying, especially with Milo coming out with the Milo W. Caitlyn is going to be disgusting. So they're nerfing base armor and base AD. This is really good, which means A, high chance she'll take, no, not high chance. She'll take more damage early on from both minions and auto attacks, so that's huge. And B, less attack damage means that she'll be dealing out less. So you have a higher chance of winning trades, which is good, which means most likely a decrease in win rate. Fizz, so W mana restoration increased, E playful damage adjusted. So I have played this, and I love this. The W being 100% mana cost restore again. Oh, it feels so good to lane. It feels so good to farm with this because you're not losing mana for something that should be just like a inbuilt to your kit. So I really like this W. The E I haven't tried because I was going AD Fizz and I much prefer AD Fizz. I was having a lot of fun with it. But from what I can see, they've buffed the magic damage and they've reduced the mana cost. So that's really good because if you are going AP, you do max E first, which means higher chance of skill expression, skill windows, because the E is when you're untargetable. Lower mana cost means you can do it more, and higher magic damage means you're going to be doing more damage. So really think increase in play rate, win rate, and ban rate for Fizz, to be honest. So Gangplank, they decreased the passive damage. E now shows all players how many kegs Gangplank has, and the recharge rate increased. Happy with this. Gangplank is always super strong in if it's really strong in pro play. The true damage is also making it really hard to win fights against Gangplank, especially early on. So that being nerfed and the kegs being nerfed, we like this. I think a decrease in play rate and win rate. So Jinx, they've increased the attack speed growth, W mana cost decreased, and the R damage cap to monsters increased. So I think what you're going to see from this is, in pro play, definitely, you're going to be seeing a lot more like objective steals like Baron and Dragon. 400 extra damage, I think this is the same now as level 3 Smite. So that's going to be something that junglers and like support and stuff need to play around. Attack speed growth means that you're going to be able to, because for Jinx you attack 3 times with the minigun and then you swap to the rocket to get the passive attack speed. So higher attack speed growth means that you're going to get to that earlier, and that's when you do more damage. So that's good. W's that mana decreased and slow increased means that you can shoot it out more, and there's a higher chance you win trades / you can auto attack more. So I think there's definitely going to be an increase in play rate and win rate for Jinx. Kennen, the Q cooldown decreased and the magic damage increased. W range indicator for marked targets added. E damage to minions increased. Really like Kennen. Kennen's a lot of fun. I think these are great changes. Q change means that Q is your farming mechanism. Lower cooldown means that you can do it more. Great. And then E is also you E in, and then you WQ essentially. So if it does more damage to minions, that means you can farm the wave more, which means you can roam more and impact the map more. So great changes, increase the win rate and play rate. LeBlanc, Q now refunds 100% of mana and 30% of cooldown upon killing a unit. Now deals bonus damage to minions. R bonus damage to minions is replicated. So this is really cool. LeBlanc has been popping up again in pro play, so it's really cool that she's coming back and that she's getting buffed. So killing a unit with either part of Sigil of Malice restores 100% of the mana cost and 30% of the spell's remaining cooldown. Cooldown cheating is definitely a recipe for disaster, especially in pro play, because A, it means you can usher out more, especially if it restores 100% of the mana cost. So that's my worry here. I think it means that LeBlanc is going to be a lot safer in lane. There's more windows where she's going to be in lane because it will be so easy for her to farm. Sigil of Malice now deals an additional 10 to 146 damage to minions. Again, it just means that LeBlanc is going to turn into kind of like TF, like you you push in the wave as much as possible, and then you roam, and then you like kill bot lane or kill jungler, kill top, etc. So I think this is going to be something they need to monitor a lot. Pantheon, base health regeneration decreased, attack speed increased, Q cooldown decreased early, mana cost decreased, Q tap wind up time decreased, E cooldown increased late. So hearing a lot of cooldowns are going up. Cooldown going up means that you won't have it as much in fights, smaller windows to fight, more chances for your opponents to make moves, so decrease in play rate and win rate. Kiana, the Q base damage increased and the E cooldown decreased. Doesn't seem to be too much, but E is how you position yourself in fights, and Q is your main damage source. Those things going up means increase the play rate and win rate. Rammus, attack damage growth decreased, Q base damage decreased. Okay, so this means that you're going to be doing less damage overall. What that means is A, you're doing less damage in fights, and B, it's harder to take jungle camps, which means that Rammus will be slower to impact the map, which means you'll be answering your opponent's moves compared to you setting the tone, the pace. So I'm going to say decrease in play rate and win rate. Rumble, E magic resist shred increased, total shred on 2 hits increased. I didn't actually know that if you hit the E, magic resist is shred, but that's cool. And yeah, so essentially what you want to do is you want to hit your E and then have your flame Q because that does all your damage. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a skill thing, but as it's your like how you set up fights and your CC with the E, definitely think increase in play rate and win rate. Samira, passive movement speed per stack increased. I don't think that's too... movement speed is very important, of course. Definitely, if they're just toning it back, if it's a buff, probably an increase in play rate. But I do know that Samira was very high on the ban list, same with Draven, so I think she'll still get banned. But we'll see. Tryndamere getting buffed, health growth and AD growth increased. I hate Tryndamere. That's just a me thing, but I truly hate Tryndamere. His ult is just so oppressive. But if he comes back, I guess it is what it is, right? But health growth and attack damage growth means A, tankier, so he's going to stay in lane longer. B, attack damage growth means he's going to be doing more damage in fights, so increase the play rate and win rate. Twitch, thankful. E, AP ratio decrease. Also, if you want to read this is the weirdest like patch notes. I saw this on Twitter, I was like, what the hell? But they're decreasing the AP damage per stack. Twitch AP Twitch has been a bane of my existence in the bot lane. It does so much damage, especially paired with a Nami. The fact that they're toning this down is good. I don't think this is actually enough. I still think you're going to be killing people. So we'll have to see how much it does. But yeah, decrease in play rate and win rate. Xayah, E base damage decreased, cooldown increased. So E is essentially your bread and butter. So if it's doing less damage and it's more cooldown, it means that it's going to be harder to win fights. It also means you need to be smarter with how you use your E. For example, if you use your E to clear a wave, that tells the opponent, oh, they don't have E, that now this is our window to go and fight. So definitely going to see a decrease in play rate and win rate. Yo, Rick, bonus damage from ghouls decreased. I didn't actually know Yorick was doing really well with the lethality build, but it makes sense with Serata's Grudge. You get 4 ghouls, you E, and then they all apply the passive slow. And it does so much damage, so this probably makes sense. Decrease in play rate, and actually I don't know if it's going to be a decrease in play rate. Decrease in win rate. Actually no, yeah, sorry, it'll be decrease in win rate and play rate, but I think Yorick players will just change how they build. I don't think they'll go lethality Yorick, I think they'll go something else. Zed, base magic resist decreased, E cooldown decreased late. This is interesting, I didn't think Zed was... so apparently in the hotfix, they made it, they brought it down, and now they want to change it, so I guess that's fair enough. Zed's biggest counters are Malzahar and Annie, I'm pretty sure, it might be Yasuo. So base magic resist decrease means that they'll take more damage, but E cooldown late is really good, is a good spammable, so I think it's going to stay the same, or definitely play rate will go up because it's buff, but we'll see how it goes. Jungle adjustments. So, counter jungling damage. Jungles deal 20% increased damage to their own camps, and Scuttle is now becoming all camps. Interesting. I think some people do have an issue with this because counter jungling is seen as a strategy to put the enemy jungler behind, which is very fair enough. So the fact that they're trying to like tone it, yeah, it makes sense that it's not fun if someone counter jungles you, but it's also like, it's a strategy. So we'll have to see how this goes, but I love counter jungling, so I don't know how much this is going to do. They're also changing the gold. So blue, so essentially everything is buffed. So what this means is, so they're compensating some gold back in the camps now that we've drained some from treats. So essentially what this means is, as a jungler, just by doing your clear, you'll have more gold overall. It's probably, from what I'm looking, if it's 5 to 10 each, you'll be around 50 to 70 gold per full clear, which is pretty good. But what this means is, you'll be able to get your items quicker, which means power spikes quicker, so it should be much better than jungle. Jungler lane experience, 40 to 70%. So I've been seeing a lot of tweets about this. Junglers can get very ahead of their enemies by sapping early lane experience on ganks and catching waves with dead allies. This is a good change. I know it can feel really annoying if you are very far ahead and then the opposing jungler is like 1-5 and at the same level as you, so this should make it more rewarding to do well in the jungle. So great change. Sweeping lens is being nerfed. It's now 120 seconds. Where's this ability power? Okay, I think this should be its cooldown. But yeah, 120 to 60 seconds and 90 to 60 seconds. Sweeping lens is really strong. I think it's a really good nerf. And it's still going to be bought, right? Sweeping lens is probably one of the best things. But it just means you, like Zaya, you have to be clever about how you use it. Items, so Cosmic Drive, they're removing the HP, buffing the AP, and changing its recipe. Again, there are some editing errors. Like this, Cosmic Drive is a very fun item. Now it's just full ability power and the CDR. I think that's going to be great. I think its buy rate is going to go up. Steel Caps is definitely bonkers, and I think this change, it's either going to get nerfed, like price-wise, or because I think it's in a space again now that it's going to get rushed first in top lane. There's a list on Twitter that you can look at, and it's just like there's so many abilities that now Steel Caps is going to affect, which means that I don't think it's like so bonkers that you're going to be playing more AP in the top lane, but it's a big impact, and it's going to reduce a lot of damage in fights. Seraphs, they're nerfing the AP and health, same with Archangels. This is fair enough. Seraphs was really good when it became a shield again, and a lot of mages came back out, so this makes very fair that they are going to nerf it. Runes, Grasp, Healing is being reduced. Is this a reduction? Yes, so they're removing the percent of maximum health HP, maximum health healing. So they're essentially nerfing the healing on Grasp and then nerfing the healing on Triumph, which is very fair. I think a lot of people were mentioning, so they did the big durability update, but then every single patch afterwards has essentially added something here or there to increase healing or damage. Oh god, what did I just do? So I think it's very fair that these 2 runes get nerfed, and I also know that these 2 runes are very popular. So it may, and so what it means is if you reduce the healing, you can then look into doing more damage or taking more damage runes, being a bit more of a glass cannon. So hopefully that will change how people pick their runes, and the increase in popularity on some other runes will increase. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think winners are top lane fighters and tanks, now that Steel Caps is really strong. I think assassins in the mid lane, because I think people might be going, well, it's nerfed. They're still going to get the shield. Who else? I think Tryndamere, especially with the healing. No, Tryndamere is still going to probably be doing the same. I think Rumble, definitely Rumble, sorry, is going to be one. Magic resist Shred and reduce healing, and they're not going to be impacted by the Steel Caps, so great for Rumble. I think Fizz as well. Where was Fizz? Oh, so yeah, Fizz, Kennen, LeBlanc. I think these 3 definitely one. I think we're going to be looking at a bit more of a magic damage meta with the Steel Cap change and the reduction in healing. So I think we're going to be looking more at a bit more burst. So I definitely think, Fizz, LeBlanc, Kennen, and Rumble are the big ones But yeah, if you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm trying to react to all the patch notes and all the champion releases, and hope to see you soon. Bye!